I'm
going to shave really quickly. I think I got a mustache. Well, here I am. It's 8 a.m. It's Salt Lake City, and it's kind of dreary outside, and I don't wake up this early, so you got me at a nice time of day where my thoughts are nice and pure and clear. Hey, Jim Collins, where are you at? Oh, follically challenged by tool bag. It's raining tacos. I thought this was like an 80s dance party. I thought we're going to paint the fence. We're going to nail that nail. It's Pac-Man, Spider-Man ride. Have you ever DJed before? In a parking lot, that's where I cut my teeth out. Left, right, select A, B, start. Drive-in diner. While people were waiting in line, I would be sharpening my sword. We're gonna saw that log. Well, we're going right there. I have an apple. Apple pen. I'm not explaining it very well. Do you know the Men in Black? We just want to party.
This is Tom Tucker with some breaking news. He is the founder of Life of the Party Entertainment, began DJing over 15 years ago when he got his first taste of mixing and entertaining crowds with music as a stadium DJ for the Utah Buzz.
Welcome, Rob Ferre, to the show.
Hello.
Hello. So working in Walt Disney World, what an amazing opportunity that must have been. What skills did you take away from that experience, and how did you apply them to the art of entertaining with being a DJ and MC?
I used to work at Walt Disney World. I worked there about 15 years ago. I went there right after college. If my math is off, it was more like 12 years ago. I got there in 2004. And I went down there not knowing what I was going to do with my life after college. And they put me in the parking lot at MGM Studios. And I kind of parlayed that job into a DJ job. At the end of my internship, as they call it, I did this talent show. And at the talent show, there was a guy there. His name's Elliot Hansen. And Elliot was the MC and the DJ for the event. And then shortly after that talent show, I went to another internship event, and it was our graduation event, and he was DJing at it. And he approached me at that event, and he said, hey, I saw you perform. I saw you do some fun stuff. Have you ever DJed before? And I said, well, I did in college. I was a radio DJ. I never did like entertainment mobile DJing or anything like that. He's like, oh, well, seems like you're good on a mic, and you're good with people, so you're a DJ. That's his thing. Is just like, you have charisma, you can talk on a mic, you're a DJ. So that was Elliot's thing. And so he took me under his wing, and I joined his company called Electro Magic. And during that whole summer of 2004, I started learning how to DJ. And what I did is I actually did more stuff at Universal than I did at Disney. The majority of stuff we did, the Electro Magic offices were on property at Universal Studios. And so what I would do is I would work at the queue lines. That was the cool thing. So have you ever been to Universal Studios, Jim?
Yeah, I was there 2004.
Okay. So maybe you were there when I was DJing. So that's when I was there.
Oh, cool.
So I would do the rides. Do you know the Men in Black ride?
No.
Okay, well, there's this Men in Black ride, and I would be the guy inside the queue line DJing for people, entertaining people while they waited in line. And so it was fun because like I would get a new group every 20 to 30 minutes. And so I could repeat some of the same jokes or do some of the same routines. But it was a great way for me to start sharpening my sword and kind of becoming interactive MC also. And so I observed a couple of guys who did it before me. You know, I trained under them. There was not only Elliot, but some other guys. But then I was just doing this job like day in, day out. While people were waiting in line, I would DJ for 2 or 3 hours. And then, you know, that's where I cut my teeth. I also did it at the Spider-Man ride. And then I also DJ'd at Mel's Drive-In Diner. at Universal Studios. And so I had all this experience DJing in a theme park instead of clubs. People, do their time while doing clubs. I did my time in the theme parks. And then when we DJed for Disney, we would do property events. I didn't do too many in-park events. I would also do interactive sets and shows. So not necessarily DJing, but we would DJ, but we would do shows on the dock stage right outside of it was at downtown Disney. It's now called Disney Springs at the gift shop. So we would have a big, huge, dance party outside, and it was a lot of fun. So when I was in Orlando, I was primarily just all over the place. I was an entertainment DJ from Disney to Universal. I also did stuff at SeaWorld. And then I also got a job at the Nickelodeon Hotel, where I was the in-house DJ and game show host. So I would DJ for the night shows. I'd also run the show from the computer. I click the go buttons and lights would go and music would go and stuff like that. And then I would also host like the morning shows, the afternoon game shows, stuff like that. It was a lot of fun.
So your first performance, tell me about that a little bit. Were you really nervous?
Well, the training process was a lot of like, watch me, just kind of observe. Right. And so first time I did anything, I think it was in the queue line at Men in Black. Okay. And I wasn't really too nervous, Yeah. Sometimes when the stakes are high, you get a little nervous, but I had seen it enough and I was just really excited. So I wasn't super nervous. I think first time I ever did a wedding was in Orlando, and I had no idea what I was doing. And so I was kind of nervous for that. Mm-hmm. And in Orlando, I probably did 3 weddings before I left there. And so, the majority of work here in Utah for me has been weddings. And so it was quite the transition and quite the shift to go from, theme park entertainment to wedding entertainment, Sure. Which is a whole nother animal. But I felt like I had a certain skill set that I could bring back to Utah that was very unique, that nobody was doing out here. There were a couple of companies that were, but they just didn't do it like the way I did. And so my target was not only weddings, but it was to do school events and community events where I could do a lot of my interactive stuff that I used to do at Disney.
So what type of events were the most challenging for you to do as a host of a party?
Utah Mormon weddings are very interesting. There's a lot of Mormons out here, and they have an odd culture when it comes to their weddings. They get married in the temple that day. And so the reception at night, they don't have a ceremony. They usually don't have a sit-down dinner. It's a reception, an open house reception, sometimes going from 2 to 3 hours. And they insist on doing what we call a receiving line, where they have people go through that line and they greet everybody, and it's just boring as all get out. And so trying to find different ways to overcome that receiving line and getting people to interact and to dance, because you play background music for literally like an hour and a half, and then they try and stuff in everything in the last half hour. And the challenge is trying to get these young couples who have seen it done it this way over and over again to switch their mind.
Right.
Think about it. Because there's no alcohol at these weddings, and they're like, oh, well, we want some background music and then a little dancing. A little bit of dancing. We're like, little bit? Well, we don't think anybody will dance. It's like, yeah, because you structured the event this way.
Right.
And so we tried to change kind of the way they look at the wedding event. And they, within the half hour, they do first dance, daddy-daughter dance, mother-groom dance, cake cutting, bouquet toss, garter toss, good night. And that's what it's been like. And so that's kind of our challenge. It's still always a challenge, but we try and, sit down with them and ask the right questions. Why would you like to have a receiving line? Well, it's my mom's idea. Well, is she paying for this? Yes. Oh, okay. Well, can't get over that. it's like, well, we'd like to, give you some alternative ideas, as to which direction you can go. And so we like to educate people on those type of things, especially when it comes to weddings. And so that's the biggest challenge when it comes to weddings here in Utah. But the thing is, the majority of the weddings that we do at my company, Life of the Party, we actually deal with destination brides and grooms who like to get married in Park City or come down to Salt Lake, people that have been here in Utah, or they live here in Utah and they're bringing in family from out of town, or we're just working with a bride who's getting married at St. Regis, who's from Tennessee, and their family has a home up there, and so up in Deer Valley, and so they like to come skiing in the winters, stuff like that. So we work with a lot of families like that, which we actually really do prefer, those type of weddings over I would say the 2-hour reception, receiving line, Mormon weddings. We don't do a whole lot of those.
So when you do educate clients and couples, when you meet with them, you said it is very challenging in presenting these ideas. Overall, are they pretty receptive to it once you've talked to them about it?
Sometimes they are.
Okay.
And sometimes they aren't, when they say their mom's in charge or their mom's paying the bill and that it's her tradition. But you always got to say, it's like, well, is it your wedding or is it your mom's wedding?
Right.
So sometimes it's tough, and sometimes that's what they want to do. And sometimes we don't work with those brides that much anymore. And so we just move on, and we try and let them know that there's something more. And sometimes they just don't get it.
Right. Okay.
But sometimes they get it when they see it, and so some couples see it and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much fun a wedding could be. I'm like, yes. But I've also seen the shift where people come and meet with us and they say, we don't want to have a boring cookie cutter Mormon wedding. And
right.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So corporate parties, along with other types of events, obviously are a challenge too. If you haven't had much experience emceeing, how do you ensure people have a great time at a corporate event?
So with that, it really depends on what kind of event you are doing, but it all comes down to the pre-planning that you do with your clients. If they are saying, we just want to party, kind of want to have that conversation with them, just a party. What's your demographic? How old are the people here? How many guests are you going to have? So you want to kind of figure out what's your demographics, what the age group is, where they're from. Are they from all over the country, or are they all coming here? Are they all local? So you want to kind of find out that. Is there going to be alcohol? No, there's not. Well, okay. So I did an event for Ancestry.com, and it's actually a big, huge convention here in Salt Lake City. What's the convention called? It's called Roots Tech. So Ancestry is one of the big sponsors, and so it's a big genealogy conference here in Utah. And so I was to do entertainment that night, and it was 80s themed. And so I was like, I was really excited. So I wore my Pac-Man jacket suit, and that's not a thing. I wore my suit, my Pac-Man suit. And I thought everybody's going to be dressed up in 80s attire, and I show up, and a lot of the people are like 50 plus, and nobody was dressed up. And I was like, I thought this was like an 80s dance party. I thought this was going to be a lively bunch. And so I was taken, for a curve. I didn't do my proper research and ask all those questions like, what have you done in the past? What have you done that's worked? So these are some great questions. What is the demographic? I didn't ask those questions because I just assumed it was going to be an all-out awesome party because it's at this big, huge conference, and it was an after party. But what I realized is the majority of the people who were at that party were there for the free stuff, which was the food and the giveaways at the end of the night. So I had about 2.5 hours to kill before the giveaways. So what am I going to do to entertain these people who were just kind of from all over the world? They were literally from all over the world: Australia, Great Britain, Germany. And so what I did is I went back into my my game show routine. And so that is one of my biggest things that I like to do is game shows. And the reason people love game shows is there's free stuff involved, and it's autonomous. And when I say by autonomy, this is one of the great things that I've learned is You want to give the people the opportunity just to want to be a part of it. And eventually, with autonomy, FOMO appears. And do you know what FOMO is?
That's an acronym for?
Fear of missing out.
I knew it's fear of. I didn't know what the rest was. Okay.
Fear of missing out. So by the end of the evening, everybody wants to be involved. Everybody wants to be a part of it. So what I usually do by breaking the ice is I play some games. And I say, who wants to win some free stuff? So people love free stuff. But I always have, and the thing is, you talk to your clients and see if they have a budget to give away prizes. If they don't, build it into your pricing.
Right.
And you just spend money on it. One thing I learned from Robbie Britton, you just get the stack of dollar bills that you get from the bank, but has the glue on it. So you can just, take it off and have the dollar bill kind of like in like a little thing. I'm not explaining it very well.
I think I understand.
So, you have all the dollar bills,
yep.
Glued up at the top.
Right. Okay.
Take it off and give it. So that's what I do. I have the dollar bills like that. And then, and sometimes I have beads. For this particular event at Ancestry, they had t-shirts. And so I would do name that tune and give away t-shirts and things like that, or just beads. Sometimes I do tickets, and I have a whole thing of tickets. And every time somebody answers a question right, they get a ticket. And then that gives them more opportunities to win in the drawing. And so tickets are currency. So tickets aren't very hard to give away. So you have a drawing at the end of the night with 4 or 5 prizes. And then the more tickets they win, the more chances they have to win at the end of the night. And also, here's a big key when it comes to tickets. When they put their ticket in the hopper or in the roller, have them write down their name. Nobody's excited about numbers. All right, our next winner is 1, 2, 2, 5,
yeah.
5, 5, 6.
Right.
5, 5, 6, 5, 5, 6. Anybody? Okay. But if I'm saying, hey, Jim Collins, where are you at? Oh, people get more excited. I know Jim, he's down here. Oh, he's having a drink, And so
he's in the bathroom.
He's in the bathroom. All right, well, that must be present to him. So we have more laughs there because, it looks like number 556 is in the bathroom. Nobody cares. So we want to put names with that. And so, if anything, a big roundabout way to answer your question is prepare with your corporate clients. Also have enough stuff in your tool bag to get people out on the dance floor.
Good point.
So, for example, I just did the Make-A-Wish Foundation Gala last Saturday. And a year ago when I did the Make-A-Wish Foundation, when I started the dance party, I started off with an interactive dance, Cupid Shuffle, thinking everybody would stay on the dance floor once that was over. That was not the case.
Sure.
People decided to just leave the dance floor as soon as it was over. And so I had to reach into my toolbox and do a whole 20-minute interactive set, which works. By the end of the night, I had people dancing. This year, I did not want to do a 20-minute interactive set. So I talked to the MC of the show, who's a good friend of mine. He's actually one of my mentors. His name's Jason Hewlett, who's taught me a lot about corporate entertainment and corporate, the corporate world. And I said, Jason, why don't we start off with a sentimental slow dance and invite everybody out? And he's like, perfect. So he actually is an impressionist and singer, and he's saying Unforgettable. And he brought the couples out. He actually called people out. He's all like, hey, I know. He knew a lot of people in the audience, and he called their names out, and people came reluctly to the dance floor, but we filled it. We filled that dance floor, and then I go straight into, I can't forget. It may have been Uptown Funk or something. Can't Stop the Feeling. Anyway, I got the dance party going, and the dance floor was full. And so that was one tactic, but it was a calculated kind of risk to make sure that we wanted to ensure that the dance floor was full. I would say after the first 2 or 3 songs, we lost, maybe about 15%, but the dance floor was full at the very beginning. And by the end of the night, we had maybe, 50 people on the dance floor. But the idea is just to start it off with a bang. Because, at the end of these galas, they want to go home. They've given away all their money. It's been a long night. But there are people in the audience that want to dance and want to party, but they don't want to be the first ones on the dance floor. And so that is a big pain and that is a big issue. So through interactive sets, through incentivization, or just guilting them onto the dance floor like we did with Jason, that also works.
Cool. So let's shift gears, if you would, and just explain your approach to interacting with children or teenagers. I mean, I've seen your footage that you've shared on Facebook.
Yeah. So a lot of my interactive stuff goes all the way back to Disney, all the stuff that Elliot taught me. And so I've been able to kind of create my own stuff here in Utah. But interaction with kids is, you want to set the stage for fun. And you want to create also anticipation. And so there's different ways to go about it. You know, sometimes I set the stage by just placing a couple of hula hoops on the ground, you know, and getting kids out there to do a hula hoop contest. Or you come out from the booth and you have music playing, or you do a countdown. You know, you start as if you're going to do a show. And that's how I actually approach a lot of my interactive stuff, is I'm going to do a show for these kids and I'm going to bring them out. Most stuff I do with teens are middle school kids. I don't do high school dances. It's just really my thing. I'm kind of beyond the high school stuff. High schoolers are more into lights and production and, you know, just hype DJs. And, you know, and I can have fun with high schoolers, but it's just, I don't want to put in all the effort of doing trussing and lighting and all that kind of stuff. It's just, I don't really enjoy doing that. I know a lot of DJs love setting up trussing and lighting and doing their DMXing, and it's just not my thing. And I know a lot of DJs hate dealing with kids. So, you know, to each their own. But when it comes to, you know, middle schools, you want to try and break the ice with them also with an interactive dance, but it's also autonomy and giving them ownership. You want to be able to take requests from kids and give them the songs that they want to hear and get excited about. But you get a lot of dumb songs from middle school students that not everybody knows, because oftentimes, I know this is kind of like egocentric, but we know better. You know, right. The middle school students like, oh, this song's going to kill. And it's like 2 of their friends are going to laugh. You know, it's like, oh, let's play that Weird Al song. Like, oh, I love Weird Al, but here's the thing is, you 3 boys are the only ones that are going to like it. And then some girl comes up and requests a song, and then you play it and all the girls scream and shout. And you're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. So, you know, you got to make sure you have the right songs. But interactivity with kids, you know, lots of different ways to approach it. And I did a presentation at Arms DJs this last summer. It's called the 3 Degrees of Interactivity. And the 3 Degrees of Interactivity has different elements. You know, one, for example, is narration. You can take a song that you often do, but narrate it throughout. So, for example, the Macarena. Whenever I do the Macarena, I kind of put some context, or have some fun with that. You know, there was a song sensation that came out 20 years ago that your moms and dads danced to every time they had the chance to. What song was it? It was the Macarena. And then we go into the Macarena and I actually narrate it. We go down, down, up, up, shoulder, shoulder, head, head, hip, hip, side, side, left, you know, whatever. Left, right, select A, B, start. And so I narrate those songs, and I even take the newer songs and I create some stuff out of it. So there's lots of songs out there, you know. And one of my heroes also in the business is Howard Wallstein, and he has a product called, well, his business is called Kids Dance, and it's a really cool business model where he brings in dancers and MCs to DJ. He DJs, and then the dancers and MCs do the fun kind of heavy lifting when it comes to the kids stuff. And so if you're a DJ and you don't want to get outside the booth, get some kids to do it for you. That's what Howard does. And I watch some of his videos because he posts stuff all the time, you know, and they have that new song by Bruno Mars, the Perm song. And so they do an interactive dance to that. So that's my next one I'm going to do. But I'll give you another example. Work by Fifth Harmony.
Yes.
You got to go to work, work, work. And so what I do with that song is, as the song is warming up, I was like, this song is all about our favorite thing, work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out in the backyard and we're going to work. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the hammer dance. We're going to nail that nail. It's kind of dumb, you know.
Did you make that up?
Yes, I made this all up.
The whole thing.
I made this all up.
This is great.
We're gonna saw that log. We're gonna chop that wood. You know, this is stuff that people do all the time in their backyard. It looks like farmers. I don't know, but I make this stuff up. We're gonna paint the fence. You know,
right.
And then when the chorus comes, you got to go to work, 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 work. All right, you get the idea, right? And so I have some fun with that. And then towards the end of it, you're like, all right, now let's go inside and let's do some work that we can do inside. Let's sweep the floor, you know, let's clean the counter, you know, and then we're going to do our favorite thing, homework. And all the kids go, you know, then we do homework, you know. And so you can take these songs that don't have interactive elements to it, but make it interactive. You work with the lyrics and make it fun. You know, I made up a dance to Call Me Maybe. I made up a dance to Gangnam Style. Even though there's a dance with Gangnam Style,
yeah,
I did the whole thing and I made up a whole dance to it. You know, and so, but songs, once again, back to Gangnam Style, you watch the music video and you see how they do it in the video, and then you imitate it and you teach it. That's what I did with Watch Me Whip. That's what I also did with Juju on That Beat. I watched that video over and over again. I was like, okay, now I know how to do it, you know, Juju on that beat, Juju on that beat. And so when it comes to interactive stuff, there's, new stuff coming up all the time. And so Juju on That Beat is a new one. Apparently you got to also, that's the great thing about middle school kids is they also turn you on to the latest and greatest in the new music that everybody's listening to, because sometimes you're not connected or you're not in. I mean, if you have kids, they'll probably help you out, but I don't have kids. And so sometimes I find out at my gigs, like, all right, well, we want this song. And then if you get like 3 or 4 requests for it and you've never heard that song before, look it up. And so I often like to try and look up these things on YouTube and see what it's all about. Also YouTube videos that are kind of like, that go viral or just stupid videos. Like one, for example, is It's Raining Tacos. Have you ever heard of this song, Jim?
I've never heard of that song.
All right. Well, the little kids love it, and you'll be surprised.
Like Sweatshirt.
Yes. I'm not sure what Sweatshirt is, but, you know, whatever Sweatshirt, It's Raining Tacos. Just look it up, you know, and then you play it, and the kids are like, it's raining tacos. And, you know, that's like one thing. Also, for example, doing trap versions of some of these of some of their favorite TV shows. So, for example, there's a trap version of Little Einsteins, and it kills. Like middle school kids love it. You know, like there's like a beat behind it. We're going on a trip, you know, and they love it. The new one, here's the other new one I'm doing, is PPAP. Do you know that one?
No.
I got a pen. I have an apple. Apple pen. It's so dumb, but kids dig it. Like, and so you make something silly and dumb into like a dance, and kids have a good time with it.
So you can take a song that you know is a popular request or something that's in the Spotify top 50 or Billboard. A kid requests it, and it doesn't necessarily, it's not going to do anything as far as dancing goes. But you could get creative if it's really popular and get requests for it, and do something like you're describing.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the other thing about it. You know, there are some ballads I haven't been very creative with. You know, like 7 Years or Lost Boy. I'm like, what could I do with this song to make kids actually? Because it's a ballad and they all just sing along to it. Right. But yeah, you want to take some of these songs that are super popular, and then you can create a dance around it or a piece of interactivity with it, and have some fun with it for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of hard for people, you know, if you've never been interactive, and it's like, how do I get outside the booth?
Yeah. And
how do I start, you know, interacting with my guests and clients and having a little bit more fun with them? And it's tough. I can get it. But what I would also, if you're not doing kids events, this is also a good place to start workshopping, where the stakes aren't very high and you may not feel too embarrassed. You know, kids think, you know, they may judge you in a different way. They may just think you're silly. You know, so if you start practicing some of your interactive stuff, you know, do I be more interactive at weddings? Do you want to be more interactive in corporate events? Maybe you start at kids events and start doing your stuff there. And so when I'm trying a new routine or a new dance, I often try it out with kids. And sometimes it works with adults, you know, so you want to be able just to kind of work your stuff out with them because stakes aren't super high.
Right. Okay.
And then the adults also are like, oh my gosh, you got all my kids to dance. My boy never dances and he got my boy to dance. And so you want to be able to kind of do that. One thing I learned from Howard and Howard Walsting is with dance contests, you say, create a circle. Now you go out and dance. Like there's only gonna be 2 or 3 kids that do that. And so what I do is I trick them into a dance contest. You know, I do a conga line into a big, huge circle. And then I throw on a song and I said, okay, you can only go out into the middle of the dance circle if you're wearing a certain color on your shirt or on your clothes. And then you say, everybody that's wearing red into the dance circle, you know, and so you do this. And then you go pink, yellow, whatever. If you're wearing socks, if you're wearing glasses, whatever. And so you start doing all these different things. And then you tell them to back up once they're done. Anybody that can do the worm, go out to the middle of the dance circle. You know, anybody that can do a cartwheel, anybody who can do the running man. And so you give them different things to do in the middle of the dance circle. But you start off with simply what they're wearing. And then by the end of it, you get the cool dance moves. And so that's how you warm them up to the dance circle. Because if you just start with the dance circle, all right, let's create this dance circle. And then everybody just stares in the middle of it, waiting for somebody to do a dance move or something like that. Yeah. So you give them orders on how to do that. That's how it works in the middle school world or in the elementary school world. High schoolers, they get it. They can do it on their own, but that's how it would work there.
I love it. Very cool. David Letterman, meeting him. Tell me about that, please.
Yeah. It's one of my biggest regrets in life. I don't have the whole video. It used to be on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
I wish I would have recorded it. It's gone now. But what happened was I think it was 3-4 years ago, I went to see David Letterman with my wife, and we were in the audience, and they vetted some people right before the show, and they put us on the second row. And in that vetting process, they got people with personality and who are fun, and they said, all right, we put you on the first 2 rows because there's a chance that you'll be able to ask David some questions, and we want you to kind of be kind of like the fun personalities in the room. Okay, great. And so we're on the second row, and I asked him, I think I was the second or third person to ask him a question. And we started talking about where I'm from and what I do. And he was like, oh, where are you from? I'm from Salt Lake City. He's like, oh, that's great. I've been to Salt Lake, you know. And we start talking about, he's like, oh, yeah, I've been to that. This is in the question. I was like, the temple? And he's all like, sure, the temple. And I didn't know where he was going. And so everybody had a laugh. And we were talking about Utah, me being a DJ, and he's like, oh, you're a DJ. Oh, what does that mean? I'm like, well, I'm an entertainment DJ, a mobile DJ. He's like, a mobile DJ? What's that? You know, and so we started getting into that. And then he's like, all right, what's your question? And then I asked him, I was like, what was the first dance at your wedding? And he's all like, well, I've been married 3 times, and so let's go back into it. And he talks about how he never had a first dance at his weddings because he's like, one time, he's always been married by the justice of the peace, or he just had like a very small intimate wedding and never had a dance or anything like that.
Interesting.
And so so that was right before the show started. If you've ever been to a talk show, be a live studio audience, they will do Q&A with you.
Yes.
Okay. So there's that. So the show starts and we get in, he teases the top 10. And he's like, all right, in just a couple of minutes, we'll be doing our top 10, you know, and then we go to commercial. As we are in commercial, I see the camera move and they focus it on the audience right where I'm sitting. And I'm like, okay, something's going to happen here.
Right.
And so the questions were, the top 10 was the top 10 things overheard at Jesus's wedding. And because they had just revealed like Jesus could have been married, you know, and some scholars had thought about this. And he's like, so as he's teasing it, he goes, so they have some archaeological scholars that they have found out this information thing, and also wedding DJs. And then they show me in the audience laughing because you know, I'm the wedding DJ. But so everybody in the audience is in on the joke.
Right.
And then when he gets to number 6 or number 5, I believe, he reveals it, and it says, top 10 things overheard at Jesus' wedding that he should have gotten married in the Salt Lake City temple. And they show me laughing, and I'm nodding my head, and I'm applauding. And so it was an inside joke, but everybody in the audience got it. And so I was on TV because of that. So there you go. That's my David Letterman story.
My wife and I, when we were in college, actually, we were fortunate enough to get tickets to go to the show. I think Nathan Lane was on there, and they did the Q&A beforehand like they do. And Dave came running out from, you know, one side of the stage out to the other. He flew like lightning. It was crazy. He comes out, and then we do the Q&A, and of course someone asks, "Oh, does Paul Schaefer always wear those glasses?" I think they probably get that question every single night. You know, on the show. But it was really cool. It was different because you're used to seeing the show as it is. But then, you know, when they cut to commercials and you hear the band playing and just banging out the tunes and how awesome it is. And, you know, Dave's sitting there at his desk in between, you know, kind of getting into the band. It's just a different atmosphere that's created and more that intimate feel. But how cool is that? Just to have that opportunity before he, you know, the show ended for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and the funny thing is, when we were there, it was the day they named Stephen Colbert his successor.
Oh, wow.
Stephen Colbert was the guest that day, so it was really cool. So we were there right before he left, and it was a lot of fun being a part of that.
That's awesome. What is the best way for people to get in touch with you?
People want to hire me. We got, you know, my life at the party business is here in Utah, but also I have robferre.com, ROBFERRE.com, and that's where you can learn all about me. I'm also on Facebook. You can also follow my page, which is Rob Ferre Entertainer on Facebook. Also, I encourage everybody who is watching today to get involved in my forums. I've created a couple of DJ forums on Facebook. One is Kids and Family DJ Event Forum. So just, you know, go to the search bar and it will pop up. Join our group. Also, I have a new group called the Dapper DJ. The Dapper DJ is for DJs that like to dress up. You know, I don't know, the Dapper DJ. We talk about style and fashion and what works for you, what you're looking to do to kind of make yourself more dapper at a wedding or at an event. I cannot help you for the follically challenged, but if you have, you know, kind of like some ideas of what you want to wear at weddings or new ideas about, you know, what ties you should get, what pocket squares and things like that. You know, I even give tips on the Dapper DJ, like Dapper DJ tip number 2. Make sure you do not brush your teeth with your suit on. You know, how many times have I brushed my teeth getting ready at the very end of me getting ready? I'm like, all right, I got to brush my teeth. And then I get some toothpaste on my suit. And I'm like, so that's like just added stress. And so, but yeah, so I have a couple of different forums. Also, I will be making appearances throughout the rest of the year. I'll be in Sacramento in April for AFWPI. I'll also be there for the ADGA. I'll be doing Wedding Wire World twice this year. On the West Coast in Anaheim, May 1st and 2nd. On the East Coast in Washington, D.C. And those dates are, I'm going to find it. It's in August. It's actually during the DJ Expo. So if you're going down to the DJ Expo, you can come down to Wedding Wire World right before it on the 14th and 15th in August. I'll be attending ARMS DJ. I'll also be presenting at Wedding MBA in October. So you can see me present, you can talk to me, come find me at these events, but Wedding Wire World's going to be awesome. So for those of you on the East Coast, join me in August. For those of you on the West Coast, join me in May. And so that's how you can get a hold of me. That's how you can see me. If you decide to friend me on Facebook, send me a message, say, hey, I saw you on whatever stage, and let me know how you found out about me.
Thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate your
Thank
time
you, Jim.
sharing. Stay tuned next week for episode 15. Take care, everyone. See you then.